Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Alrighty. What's up, everyone? My name's Connor. This is Woody right here. He's joining us again. He's probably going to stick with us throughout the whole day. Say hi. And let's learn about some history. All right. I'm not making the same mistakes as I have in the past. I'm learning to really... My greatest experience so far was learning about the Napoleonic Wars, and that's where I really stuck through, and maybe I went a day without through some in the middle, but I really was pretty consistent, and I learned that way. And I'm honestly a terrible learner, but I try my best. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Guys, go on the Discord for sure. Makes it easier for me to interact with you guys. A lot of great conversations over there, and it kind of forwards this idea of this sort of history watering hole I want to create. I'm in no means a teacher. I probably know, one of the least about the topics compared to others in the Discord, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to teach. I'm here to learn and have some fun. So go check out Discord. Let's get right into this. All right, Epic History TV, amazing channel. If you've watched my channel for even like a second, you've probably heard me praise them. Let's get into it. History of Russia, Part 2. Original video at the top of the description below. Again, Discord. Go join it. Oh, this channel. No technical difficulties.
In 1612...
If you're not ready to learn, just get the hell out of here, all right?
Russia was in a state of anarchy.
Sorry, what date?
In 1612...
Okay.
Russia was in a state of anarchy. They called it the Time of Troubles. The people were terrorized by war, famine, and plague. Up to a third of them perished. Foreign troops occupied.
Did Russia suffer as seriously from the Black Plague? I know it was a few centuries prior to this. But to have that sort of double whammy of losing that portion, it probably didn't suffer as much as Italy and other parts of Europe, but curious about that, because to have two major events like that killing off so much of your population, didn't like a third of Europe die or something? All right.
Up to a third of them perished. Foreign troops occupied Moscow, Smolensk, and Novgorod.
Novgorod, great name. Sweden?
But then Russia fought back. Prince Pozharsky and a merchant, Kuzma Minin, led the Russian militia to Moscow and threw out the Polish garrison. Since 2005, this event has been commemorated every 4th of November as Russian National Unity Day.
It's always amazing about Russia and kind of scary. Not scary. It's admirable that they're never down and out. They can always be down, but they're never truly out. You'll think there's no way they can come back from those casualties or from their nation being burned either by themselves in order to prevent others through scorched earth tactics or from enemies. And Moscow being taken, they never seem to be completely out. You can't truly defeat them. How wide those streets are. Sorry. Romanovs. Anastasia?
The Russian Assembly, the Zemsky Sabor, realized the country had to unite behind a new ruler and elected a 16-year-old noble, Mikhail Romanov, as the next Tsar. 16-year-old country had to... The Russian Assembly, the Zemsky Sabor, realized the country had to unite behind a new ruler and elected a 16-year-old noble, Mikhail Romanov, as the next Tsar. His dynasty would rule Russia for the next 300 years. Tsar Mikhail exchanged territory for peace, winning Russia much-needed breathing space. His son, Tsar Alexei,
taking a short-term loss for maybe long-term gain,
implemented a new legal code, the Sabornoye.
Right?
Tsar Alexei implemented a new legal code, the Sabornoye Ulozhenie. it turned all Russian peasants, 80% of the population, into serfs, effectively slaves, their status inherited by their children and with no freedom to travel or choose their master. It was a system that dominated Russian rural life for the next 200 years. The head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Nikon, imposed religious reforms that split the church between reformers and old believers. It's a schism that continues to this day. Ukrainian Cossacks, rebelling against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, recognized Tsar Alexei as overlord in exchange for his military support. It led to the 13 Years' War between Russia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth.
One of the things I'm most interested in learning about this Russian Revolution, this isn't about the Russian Revolution. I'm sure it'll touch on it. But what I'm most interested right now is just learning about how they got all that land. I know nowadays, land has resources, and so it might not be the case now. But back in the day, I'm sure it was just seen as useless land, almost just barren wasteland. They didn't think about maybe it has coal and minerals and all this stuff. But I'm curious to see just how the borders grew into the massive country it is.
To the 13 Years' War between Russia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Russia emerged victorious, reclaiming Smolensk and taking control of eastern Ukraine. A revolt against Tsarist government, led by a renegade Cossack, Stenka Razin, brought anarchy to southern Russia. It was finally suppressed. Razin was brought to Moscow and executed by quartering.
It's a badass picture, though. Look at that. Look at that.
Go
Cool.
and executed by quartering. The sickly but highly educated Fyodor III passed many reforms. He abolished Mesnichestva, the system that had awarded government posts according to nobility rather than merit, and symbolically burned the ancient books of rank. But Fyodor died aged just 19. His sister Sophia became Princess Regent, ruling on behalf of her younger brothers, the joint Tsars Ivan V and Peter I.
Joint Tsar.
After centuries of conflict, Russia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth signed a treaty of eternal peace. Russia then joined the Holy League in its war against the Ottoman Empire. Sophia's reign also saw the first treaty between Russia and China, establishing the frontier between the two states.
Wow, that's really early on.
At age 17, Peter I seized power from his half-sister Sophia. Peter became the first Russian ruler to travel abroad. He toured Europe with his Grand Embassy, seeking allies for Russia's war against Turkey and learning the latest developments in science and shipbuilding. The war against Turkey was successfully concluded by the Treaty of Constantinople. Russia gained...
you guys gave me a chuckle one time, and I didn't really get why right away. And something in some other video there was mention of the Russo-Turkish War, and I said, I gotta learn a lot about that. And someone said, you're gonna have to be more specific than that. And I guess there's been 50 not 50, but a lot, and so I had to clarify. I thought that was kind of funny.
Azov from Turkey's ally of Constantinople. Russia gained Azov from Turkey's ally, the Crimean Khanate, and with it, a foothold on the Black Sea. Peter made many reforms, seeking to turn Russia into a modern European state. He demanded Russian nobles dress and behave like Europeans. He made those who refused to shave pay a beard tax.
What?
Peter built the first Russian navy, reformed the army and government,
Ooh, one of you.
and
Never
promoted
mind.
industry, trade, and education. In the Great Northern War, Russia, Poland, Lithuania, and Denmark took on the dominant power in
I gotta watch a video on that.
Russia, Poland, Lithuania, and Denmark took on the dominant power in the Baltic.
I think there's an extra credit
Sweden.
series.
The war began badly for Russia with a disastrous defeat to Charles XII of Sweden at Narva. But Russia won a second Battle of Narva before crushing Charles XII's army at the Battle of Poltava. On the Baltic coast, Peter completed construction of a new capital, St. Petersburg. The building of what would become Russia's second largest city among coastal marshes was a remarkable achievement.
So that fully freezes over in the winter? Does it do that every winter?
Though it cost the lives of many thousands of serfs. The Great Northern War ended with the Treaty of Neustadt. Russia's gains at Sweden's expense made it the new dominant Baltic power. 4 years.
Look at all these big. I love geography, love learning more about it. I may do a Sporkle video next. Didn't get that much love, but I like doing them. But all these giant lakes here, I know on a flat map they might be exaggerated, but they look pretty.
Before his Baltic power. 4 years before his death, Peter was declared Peter the Great, father of his country, emperor of all the Russias. Peter was succeeded by his wife, Catherine.
Can't tell you how much I love this channel, guys. Go check him out. Go support him.
Peter was succeeded by his wife, Catherine. Then his grandson, Peter II, who died of smallpox, aged just 14. Empress Anna Ivanovna, daughter of Peter the Great's half-brother, Ivan V, was famed for her decadence and the influence of her German lover, Ernst Biron.
That's a couple.
During Anna's reign, Vitus Bering, a Danish explorer in Russian service, led the first expedition to chart the coast of Alaska. He also discovered the Aleutian Islands, and later gave his name to the sea that separates Russia and America.
Really? I didn't know that. Oh, duh. I should have realized that.
After Anna's death, her infant grandnephew Ivan VI was deposed by Peter the Great's daughter, Elizabeth. Ivan VI spent his entire life in captivity. Until age 23, he was murdered by his guard.
So it's kind of like Mary, Queen of Scots situation, right? What, Queen Elizabeth? I don't know enough to make that comparison.
During a failed rescue attempt.
Oh, okay.
Elizabeth, meanwhile, was famed for her
He was killed during a
failed. He was murdered by his guards during a failed rescue attempt.
They don't have an older...
Elizabeth, meanwhile, was famed for her vanity, extravagance, and many young lovers. But she was also capable of decisive leadership. In alliance with France and Austria, Elizabeth led Russia into the 7 Years' War against Frederick the Great of Prussia. The Russian army inflicted a crushing defeat on Frederick at the Battle of Kunersdorf, but failed to exploit its victory. Meanwhile, in St. Petersburg...
I really want to learn about 18th century Prussia. Now having a little bit knowledge of them because of the Napoleonic Wars.
Inflicted a crushing defeat on Frederick at the Battle of Kunersdorf, but failed to exploit its victory. Meanwhile, in St. Petersburg, the Winter Palace was completed at vast expense. It would remain the monarch's official residence right up until the Russian Revolution of 1917. Peter III was Peter the Great's grandson by his elder daughter Anna Petrovna. who died as a consequence of childbirth. Raised in Denmark, Peter spoke hardly any Russian and greatly admired Russia's enemy, Frederick the Great.
What are you doing,
So
Peter?
he had Russia swap sides in the 7 Years' War, saving Frederick from almost certain defeat. Peter's actions angered many army officers, and he'd always been despised by his German wife, Catherine. Together, they deposed Peter III, who died a week later in suspicious circumstances. His wife, Catherine, became Empress of Russia. Her reign would be remembered as one of Russia's most glorious.
Pretty badass women in this episode.
Epic History TV depends on donations from its fans.
Definitely doing the
through its
next one.
Patreon page. Please click the link to find out how you can pledge as little as $1 per video.
Anything they receive is worth it. They are such a great YouTube channel. Easily my favorite. Great video. Excited for the next one. Going to get into the next Caesar episode 2. Throw in a few others in there. Join the Discord, guys. Leave recommendations there or down in the comments. And see if I can put in a few. See you guys next time.